All right, thanks for joining us again. We still have the amazing life coach right here with us. And before we went on that time out, we were talking about, so many things around should spouses have a joint account or not. And I think at that point, you were making a point about, values and what should inspire or what should be, what should determine the decisions of these individuals. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so like I was saying when we had the little break, and I'll say it again on air so people can know, always consistently start from the angle of the end. You may not have a joint account now, but there is never a wrong time to start. So if it's a goal for you, if it's one of the things you are putting on your vision board for the year, of course, you know how a vision board works.
For you or for both parties?
For both parties, vision board for the couples, and you're saying, oh, this year maybe hypothetically we're changing our car from a Camry to a Mercedes-Benz or something. Then agree and say, okay, everybody in this family, they do their role untold. Everybody just fits into a box.
I think that suffices in many homes.
Yeah, which is what tradition expects.
Yeah.
Tradition says that the woman must always cook, which of course is a lie, because I cook, and I grew up to a cooking dad. In fact, the joke in my house is we always look forward to my mom to travel during Christmas, because the way my father cuts the chicken is always different.
Oh.
He cuts it bigger. Why my mother will serve us the chicken head and the leg and all of that. No, Popsy will cut it well. So we always look forward. So I think it influenced me growing up even as an adult. So I'm saying that there are no traditional rules, but it's expected. Like, okay, the man must pay the rent, the man must pay the fees, or maybe the man and the wife must pay the fees, and the wife must take care of everything that comes to do with food. So why don't you make it a goal and a plan for 2023, and sit down and go, okay, we've never done joint savings before, right? But create the big picture at the back of your head. So, but what will it look like if we close the year and we have 6-8 million naira in our bank account? What does it take? Simple. Just one decision. Just one decision that both of you do. And the interesting thing that one of the things that coaches do, which is that we stand as accountability partners to our coaches. So you as a spouse can be accountability partners to each other. So that means when the income comes in either from the husband or the wife, somebody, of course, since you both know, before the last spending happens, you are saying put money away for the rainy day. With good savings, just joint account, you want to do it. And ideally, I would also suggest that the joint account should be set not just only for emergencies, but primarily toward projects.
Okay.
You know why? Because when you create something as a picture in your head that you both of you have painted, then it's easier for both of you to commit to it. So you keep on reminding yourself about the pictures. You keep on building the pictures. If you say, oh, we want to buy a landed property. And what does it take to buy a landed property? Basically, maybe somewhere on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Let's say about
5-6 million.
5-6 million naira. And then you say, okay, then your wife says, oh, I saw this picture of this estate around here. See what it is, gated environment. It has a play area for kids. They have a swimming pool. And then if the man is a visual person.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Automatically, everybody sort of aligns.
Yes.
Automatically, you cut excesses without even being told.
Without being
and so
told.
when there's an Ashwebi, even though you are the number one Ashwebi buyer, you tell yourself, not this time. Because there is, so to a very large extent, you're coming to answer his question where, at the end of the day, you're almost telling us that it's a good thing to have a joint account. Because it's intentional, it's purposeful, and everybody is, responsible. And at the end of the day, that sort of makes it work. You've talked about accountability also.
Yeah, and then it's a good thing because it helps couples to make direct plans. And like I say, we can't force anybody to do it.
Sure.
But if you want to do it, start with your picture, then let that picture grow larger and larger and larger. And I said something earlier, which is, so I'm being careful so that I don't jump off topic and go into a tirade of a number of other conversations. So one thing is that even the good book says, they say better is the end of the thing than the beginning thereof. So that means it is wise for you in the beginning of the year to create the end of the year before you start. And how do you create the end of the year? Simple. Paint pictures and itemize. Normally, there's something we call the wheel of life in coaching, and the wheel of life will cover 12 core areas, which will be your wellness, your health, family, your lifestyle, everything. So you normally will create this wheel and you score yourself between 0 and 10, 0 being the least, 10 being the highest. And then on each of these points, you will probably cross a mark. Then you now begin to see areas of your life that need improvement as a spouse. And I advise couples to do that. It's always a great way to start the year. So when you do that, you now know, okay, these are challenging areas that we need to improve on. And these are areas where we are strong. So if it's an area where you are strong, what you want to do is only continue to buffer your area of strength, but improve the areas of challenge. I don't know what I'm communicating. So when you do that, then it's easier for you at the end of the year to say, okay, if we put this money together, and then, like I said, create a project around the money. If you want to take a holiday as a family to Dubai, start to save now. It's doable with a joint account.
All right. Talking about a joint account, so what percentage are we looking at here?
That's village people question now.
Yeah, I mean, let's just how are we going to make it work?
Like you said, if it depends on the total goal. If, for example, I'm earning, like a hypothetical case that we have, 150 husband.
150 Kirisa.
No, we are going by.
I mean, we're looking at what we want to achieve. If you
I
want to
just want to
achieve,
be modest here because
okay, if you say
reasonably, you can rarely find companies that will pay you above that, except for those high class companies.
there are
really
so
more.
many of them.
There are quite a number of
So
companies I
many.
think will pay, and I'll speak as somebody who was also in management consulting. But if your budget is, if you're doing 150 to 100,000, then ideally I think by the end of the year you should be able to do like 1.7, 1.8.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
1.7 when you have children that are going to school, you need to take
so-
care of their bills, their books, and
Okay, so we should tell them to do 500,000 at the end of the year, Abby.
which is abysmally small.
No, but it's possible.
Okay.
Because look at the bright side. If you have 500,000, if you can't save, if you can't buy property with the 500,000, you can get something that you really want for yourselves or for the kids. And
Or
do
still
something
keep
big.
it, invest
Or
somewhere while you
invest it
you
when
can make
you're
it a
sure
5-year
that
plan.
can give you a form of a so 5-year plan, yeah. But so this is what I tell people when they do things like that.
Okay.
To make it continuous, always reward yourself at the end of that year.
Okay.
So I stand as an advocate, and I will tell you that at the end of that calendar year, take something out to reward yourself for doing this.
Shouldn't affect our goal. No. It should not affect our goal. Our goal is important. We must miss it.
So you must reward yourself to convince yourself that you've done well, and you've put the basic things in place. Then you now begin to like you said, if you want to invest and continue, then continue the following year. But to reward yourself, reward the family, reward your children. It's important because one of the things people do is when you set a goal and you achieve it, there must be something there for you. There must be a you factor in it at the end of the day. So if at the end of the day you now begin to say, okay, we're going to buy an Is and As watch, maybe it's a certain brand that you like, and then both of you, every time you see the watch, it's a memento to the fact that, oh, this is a result of a decision to own a joint account to make our lives better. Because ultimately, the idea about getting married is to have somebody who can make the journey of life easier and a bit more comfortable as we go along and grow older.
All right, looking at the drawbacks of having a joint account, there are those who have said that it takes away their financial independence, sort of. Do you agree to that? Or is that even a thing, going by some of the, background that you've already laid?
Oh, yes. Yes, because we're in a society where we hear every day, either on social media, we see all kinds of stories. We see all kinds of experiences. So which, of course, will still make me play the devil's advocate and say that it is still born out of the fact about the person that owns the money. If I trust you with my funds, okay, I'll give a classic example that I came to recently, last year, from a friend. They were comfortable, they were really doing well. They were both husband and the wife. I think they had a joint account. Then the husband had done a bad business investment.
With the money?
With the money.
Oh, no.
That wife was privy to, but I think they lost well over 6 million naira.
Sad.
And openly, because the man was running a business and the wife had a steady income, the bulk of the loan was serviced by the wife. So while the wife was doing that, she was taking care of the home, taking care of the children. These are realities that happen every day. And she was taking care of everything. Then one of those instances, she has sent money to her husband to pay the children's school fees. And the husband spent the money on something else. Now spoke to my friend and said that she's not been sleeping well and she's been depressed. And that the friend said she should talk to me. And I told her, I said, from my experience in coaching for well over a decade, you can't coach somebody who's not ready to be coached. You must be willing to want to do the work. And I said, you know that my sessions don't come free because this is my own bread and butter.
The man should be.
You know, so these are some realities that will now begin to say, you now begin to ask, does it take away my independence as an individual, as a person? So you now really don't need
But
to.
you know what? Before you go ahead, that's a classical example you've just given us.
Yes, please.
How do we address this? Let's say, I mean, you convinced me to have a joint account with my spouse, and then you tied it to a project which made it more attractive to me. And at the end of the day, he goes fleecing.
Okay.
How do we address it? And you think I won't be angry, I won't be disappointed or something?
It still comes down to the first thing I said.
Because I'm wondering, if we tie this thing to a project, it should be responsible, responsive, and reasonable enough. I mean...
I agree. But, so this is where I will approach this a bit differently.
Okay.
Before the man took that big decision and wasted the money, he had wasted other monies that the woman saw but she kept ignoring. People don't behave out. People will continue to behave outside a pattern. In fact, I was still having this conversation with someone yesterday who was telling me that I got to know somebody because he did something to me once. I said, no. I said, someone doesn't do one thing and you say you know the person. I said, no. I said, the easiest way to know somebody is this. Watch the daily, consistent actions that they do. That defines who that person is. Nobody wakes up one day. It's like you saying, one day he just woke up and slapped me. No.
All right. Still on this conversation. My partner probably, I mean, can waste money. But I'm still interested in this project.
Okay.
I want us to have this joint account.
Okay.
What measures can we put in place to ensure that he doesn't just spend the money however, whenever?
Okay. Firstly, you can't force anybody to do what they don't want to do.
Yes, we've agreed. Yes.
I think you addressed that from the beginning.
So if now we've agreed and we are doing it and the other party is not accountable, there are two things. That means the person either doesn't understand the idea or doesn't buy into the end vision of what you want them to do. All right? That means they don't buy into the end vision. That's number one. Or number two, they have an attitude problem that needs to be dealt with for them to get help for and move on. And these are things that are reality. Of course, all of us will talk about the concept of learning, unlearning, and relearning. So if it's not something you're used to, it might take a bit of work. So the question is the other spouse willing to give that time for the person to do that character adjustment?
Wait. We make rules because of situations like this.
Yes.
Do you get?
Yes.
So,
and because we are humans, we are also born to break those rules.
but I'm saying, can't we say, okay, this account, nobody gets anything out except both parties sign, or can we do something like that?
Oh yes, they will ask you that when you want to do
the
the
account
account.
runs.
That's how the
you
account
can't
runs.
even go.
How is it that one person is then taking money to
That is no.
it doesn't
For a
work
joint
that
account,
way.
you can decide whether
Two
you have
signatories,
you can have
right?
two signatories, but I think I know a little about the bank. One person can still have an overriding signature. It depends on both couples.
Oh, really? It works that way?
I think so, yes.
Then-
And I'm speaking because I've heard some instances along that line where the person can deal with, and then you can also have agreements with the bank where, I think some banks always do one where you can't even touch the account until after 12 calendar months. So that means fixed deposit of some sort. So you have to agree on the bank, agree on the process.
Yes.
So that if we must pull out anything from the account, it must be that we have a life-threatening issue. And then we've exhausted all forms of getting this fund, and this is the last point of call.
That brings me to my last question, but we'll take a commercial break now. When we come back, I will delve into that. Stay with us.